Okay, thank you, all of you. Thanks all of you who have joined us for today's webinar. During this webinar, if you have any questions about the speech, please type your question into the box. Now, let's make a start. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whichever time it is where you are. I'm Shi Zhuli, the Vice Director, National Institute of Parasite Disease, China CDC. Today, this is the 7th Idea Forum, so I'm very happy to moderate it. The lessons from authors held by the General Infectious Disease of Poverty. Firstly, let's welcome the Editor-in-Chief of the Journal of Infectious Disease of Poverty, Professor Xiaonong Zhou, give us the opening remarks. Professor Zhou is Director of the National Institute of Parasite Disease, China CDC, Chinese Center for Tropical Disease Research, and the Director of One Health Center, Shanghai Jiao Tong University, and the University of Edinburgh. So let's welcome Professor Zhou.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. And this is a great opportunity to have this forum. And this is the 7th forum, Idea Forum. And the major objective is to share the lessons from authors. So focus on the idea. Well, of course, this is a new idea and a new design your project and how to make your article be more attractive for the other readers. So then at that time, 10 years ago, we launched this Infectious Disease of Poverty, this journal, and we would like to following the principle of one world, one health, to explore the relationship between infectious disease and poverty, and focus on the transdisciplinary and multi-sectoral research. At that time, we also designed this journal to identify and weigh up research and information gaps that hinder the progress towards new intervention for health. At the same time, we also aim to provide the comprehensive and authoritative coverage of important topics by scoping review. And this is a very typical feature for our journal by using the scoping review. And up to now, total number of the 1,040 publication has been published up to 2 days ago. And among the more than 4,000 submissions. And all authors actually came from more than 105 countries. And currently we have very high impact. For example, the downloading articles from the website was more than 4.7 billion, with citation more than 16,300. So the impact factor also increasing. Currently, we have the immediate impact factor more than 8, and H index officially was 49. And 3 days ago, the site score was launched. That was 10.8. So we are very happy for our achievements. Not only the impact factor, but also we coverage all the countries, all the continents around the world. So for the future, we would like to keep in line with the SDGs and with WHO triple billion targets. Also, we would like to further expand the journal's influence at the global level. And also we would like to sustain IDP's unique features and the continued publication of high quality articles. Particularly, we will promote the scoping review as well. And we are very happy to see this year, we launched the policy brief that will provide useful recommendations on design, formulation, implementation, and evaluation of policies. So today, we are very happy to have this 7th Idea Forum, which really help our authors or readers to read more articles from our journal. So today we are very happy to invite two experts. One is from Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute, Professor Jakub Zinsteg, and he is world-known expert on the One Health. At the same time, so we also invite the young Dr. Zhang Xiaoxi from Shanghai Jiao Tong University School of Medicine. We will present her recent results from her working on One Health. So thank you for your attention and welcome you to enjoy this session.
Okay, thank you, Professor Zhou. Very excellent work, and so congratulations to you. With the concept of One World and One Health, IDP has been interested in One Health research and implementation. Recently, with the help of experts, we have launched a new thematic series entitled One Health Actions and Assessment. This thematic series will focus on One Health Action Plan and the development of One Health assessment tools to promote more research and actions. So today, we will launch the thematic series, One Health Action and Assessment. So firstly, let's watch a One Health video together, please. Okay, thank you. Very beautiful video. So for the next part, we are very happy to have Professor Jakub Zinsteg, our old friend, which is head of Department of Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute. He is a member of the Transdisciplinarity Board of the Swiss Academy of Science and the president of International Association Ecology and Health. Professor Jakub has a great reputation in research and education and has contributed to the field of One Health in many remarkable ways. Since 1998, he leads a research group at Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute on the interface of human and animal health, with a focus on health of nomadic people and the control of zoonosis in developing countries under the concept of One Health. In addition, we noticed that Professor Jakub runs an excellent online course. My students have taken this course and have greatly benefited from it. So let's welcome Professor Jakub please share the launching speech of thematic series.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will just share with you and I will go to the beginning. I'm sorry. So, good morning, everybody. It is a great privilege and a pleasure for me to talk to you today. Hello, China, and hello, world. Today, we would like to emphasize a little bit the evaluation of One Health. Many people use the word One Health, but at the end of the day, we want to see change. We want to see how the health of humans and animals and of the environment improves. Therefore, we need also to have the tools to evaluate One Health. I speak to you today replacing Professor Jürg Utzinger, who is also a guest editor of this special edition and who is also an editor of the Infectious Disease of Poverty journal. He asked me to replace him because he has visitors from abroad. So I will be brief, but I would like to address the point about evaluating science and practice, and then that we need a theoretical foundation for that. And I will briefly address evaluation frameworks and then come, of course, to repeat the call for papers and quickly address the Global One Health Index. So, whenever we want to evaluate science, it is very important that we consider the theoretical foundations and the methods that are used for it. Otherwise, we don't know what we evaluate. And at the moment, there are several theoretical foundations. And what is great news is really that we have today One Health high-level expert panel at the World Health Organization that is represented by global experts in One Health, and that really drives internationally the concept of One Health. This is really a great development. And OLEP, how it is called, has just put forward its definition, which is actually a theoretical foundation. And OLEP states that human health, animal health, and the environment and the whole planet are intimately related. This is a very important recognition that it is not only about humans and our money, it's very much also about the environment and the animals that surround us. And we work since almost 25 years on One Health, and we have produced this textbook, which is out in a second edition. And I'm very, very pleased to announce today that there exists a translation to Mandarin. And I think you, Professor Schau, will explain better the top sign. If I'm wrong, not wrong, it means that you have the health of the humans, that's the roof, and then you have the environment, and the power from the environment is the bottom of this sign. Is that correct, Professor Schau?
Yes, including the animal.
Exactly, and I'm very, very moved and impressed of the contextualization of the term. So this is not a literal translation of one and health. it is really a culturally contextualized translation of the word One Health. And this is what I find so important. So I would like to congratulate Guo Jingyang from Hainan Medical University, who was driving this translation together with you, Professor Zhou. So I think it is critically important that we translate, because if we don't translate, too many people don't understand. It is a misconception of Western science to think that everybody should speak English. It's not the case. And I couldn't more emphasize that. So on one side, One Health has, One Health is clearly multi-epistemic. Epistemology means the way how we generate knowledge. And we have clearly a positivist way, which means we want to measure quantitatively with mathematics and economics the incremental benefit of working together. This is our understanding of One Health. But we are also constructivist. We consider the social and cultural dynamics, and that create also knowledge and create value. So it's the qualitative benefits of a closer cooperation. But by working with communities worldwide, we are co-producing transformational knowledge with local and traditional knowledge systems. This is the transdisciplinary engagement, but we clearly want to include also non-Western knowledge systems. And I'm convinced that there are many other knowledge systems that are already holistic. Most of the non-Western knowledge systems are actually holistic. I would like to emphasize that Calvin Schwabe, the person who coined the term One Medicine, was inspired by pastoralists in Sudan from the Dinka ethnic group. So you see the origin of integrative thinking also in Western science is actually African. I'm also working with people in Guatemala with Maya medicine. Maya medicine is very holistic. And I'm convinced that Indian and Chinese and other ways of thinking are very holistic. So I think One Health is not new, but we just recognize under the threat of climate change and environmental destruction and biodiversity loss that we must go back to think in an integrative way. So this is an earlier framework of evaluating of One Health. This is the so-called One Healthness approach, which was proposed by a European group under a cost funding. This book is actually can be downloaded for free. If you tell us that we should translate it to Mandarin, we could try to promote that. But today we really want to emphasize that please contribute to this special call for papers to the Journal of Infectious Disease of Poverty, and help us to promote One Health to become a leading paradigm of cooperation, multilateralism. We are a very small planet, and I think we can improve the world if we work together and if we don't fight each other. What I like very much on this picture, if you look at it carefully, you see the yak, but on the bottom right, I think this is a fox, and the fox represents the wildlife. And we clearly have to consider not only the health of our domestic animals, but also very much so the health of the wildlife, because the health of the wildlife is essential in keeping pandemic threats low. We must absolutely maintain also large predators wherever we can, because they contribute to equilibrate the ecosystem. And lastly, there is a new paper out, the Global One Health Index, and this has been proposed by a Chinese group largely, and I think this leads the way towards evaluating One Health, although I think there is some work on validation to be done still. So I look forward to all our discussions today, and would like to declare this session open. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Jakob. Thank you very much for your introduction and the comments for the thematic series on the One Health. So for the next part, we are very happy to invite Dr. Xiaoxi Zhang from School of Global Health Chinese Center for Tropical Disease Research, Shanghai Jiao Tong University. The topic of her presentation is Towards a Global One Health Index. Her research interested are in health system and health policy, with a focus on health career management. She studied and worked for the WHO in the Global One Health Index project. She is responsible for the main planning and research work. This research work has been published in IDP and promoted in Nature. Let's welcome Dr. Zhang. Please.
Thank
Dr.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, can you see my screen?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. I'm Zhang Xiaoxi from the School of Global Health, Shanghai Jiao Tong University School of Medicine. It's a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to present the progress of our project of Global One Health Index in front of you. Actually, on behalf of our research team has almost 50 researchers, and we've been working on this for almost 1 year. So my presentation today will be entitled as Towards a Global One Health Index, a potential assessment tool for One Health performance. The outline of my presentation will go from background, methods, results, discussions, and conclusions. As we all know that over the past 20 years, the world has encountered several major public health emergencies caused by zoonotic diseases, including SARS, H1N1, MERS, Zika, Ebola, and the ongoing COVID-19. Since the 1970s, zoonotic diseases have accounted for more than 75% of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. We can say that the threats of outbreaks of emerging and re-emerging zoonotic infectious diseases are very real, despite that we have many sophisticated interventions now. These two pictures show that early detection and rapid response in animal side can effectively benefit the control of the spillover of the disease from animal to human. Unfortunately, the lack of cross-cooperation among human, animal, and environment results in great difficulty in early detection, prevention, and containment of zoonotic diseases. So joint efforts at the human, animal, environment interface are desperately needed. Therefore, a One Health approach has been increasingly mainstreamed by international community as it provides for holistic thinking in recognizing the close links and interdependence of the health of human, animal, and the environment. On December last year, the Food and Agriculture Organization, World Organization for Animal Health, United Nations Environmental Program, and WHO have jointly developed the One Health high-level expert panel and gave the definition of One Health, saying One Health is an integrated, unifying approach that aims to sustainably balance and optimize the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. And we summarize the definitions of One Health to include 4 aspects: The first one, we think that One Health unifies human health, animal health, and environmental health with the aim of achieving the Pareto improvement of human, animal, and environment systems. Saying Pareto improvement specifically, we mean that without sacrificing the benefits of any one of the three, human, animal, or environment, at least one aspect of the system as a whole is made better. Or with the same effectiveness obtained, the cost of the intervention is reduced. Secondly, we think that One Health mobilizes cross-sectoral and multidisciplinary cooperation by breaking down barriers in governance. Thirdly, One Health promotes joint cooperation between countries and regions to tackle threats at global, regional, and local levels. And it promotes broader societal participation and better societal awareness for the sustainable development of human, animal, environment systems. So these are the essentials of One Health in our understanding. However, the dearth of real-world evidence has hampered application of a One Health approach. So recently, FAO, WOAH, UNEP, and the WHO have jointly launched the One Health Joint Plan of Action and putting forward 6 action tracks of the One Health Joint Plan of Action, including the first action, including the first one, enhancing One Health capacities to strengthen health systems. The second one, reducing the risks from emerging and re-emerging zoonotic epidemics and pandemics. And the third one, controlling and eliminating endemic zoonotic, neglected tropical and vector-borne diseases, and strengthening the assessment and management of food safety risks, curbing the silent pandemic of AMR, and integrating the environment into One Health. It is urgent to develop an evaluation tool at global level to facilitate the implementation of this action plan. Then, how to clarify the determinants and the practical enablers of One Health, how to evaluate the current situation, strengths, and limitations of One Health capacity building, and how to formulate strategies that are in line with local settings for One Health implementations. To answer this question, we developed our project called Global One Health Index, GOHI in short, Go High, to evaluate the current status of the capacity to apply One Health approach in each of more than 200 countries or territories around the world, to share the best practice of One Health approach in different countries or territories, and to promote the adoption of effective measures to fill the gap and extend the application of One Health in shaping real-world policies and practice. And here we go, the methods. Here we show the flowchart for the construction of a global One Health Index. So basically, we have 5 steps to develop Go High. This first step, framework formulation and indicator selection. The second step, database building. The third step, weight determination. The fourth step, index calculation. And last but not least, the results launch. In the first step, first, we had our evaluation objects and principles, and based on expert consultation, we had an evaluation framework and selected the indicators, and we had the Go High indicator scheme, and we gave every indicator definition. And in the database building, we have qualitative and quantitative indicators. We collected and retrieved the data, improved the data, and conducted the consistency and rationality test to the data. Then we had our Go High index database. In the third step, we adopted a fuzzy analytical hierarchy process to assign the weights for most of the indicators. And for other indicators, we gave equal weights to them. And we have Go High weight scheme. And after that, we set up our scoring rules and conducted the normalization and calculation of the Go High scores. We analyzed the results and gave key findings and policy recommendations. And now we're happy that we just had several academic publications, and we are thinking about ways to launch the results through a variety of activities now. And to ensure the validity of our index, we established the expert advisory committee. Here shows the characteristics of the expert advisory committee assisting with the development of Go High. We can see the gender, age, education, professional level, type of work, working experience, and the research area of our experts. And we see all of them have a degree over master and the doctor degree. And also half of them are senior in their career with the research area of human medicine, veterinary science, environmental science, social science, political science, and management science. And also we established an evaluation framework for One Health performance. We call it cell-like framework of Go High. We think that the evaluation of One Health should have a 3-layer structure of external, intrinsic, and core layers. In external layer, we think that the use of a One Health approach represents a more holistic thinking. So we use external drivers index, EDI, to assess the social, economic, cultural, and other factors affecting One Health development, including the Earth system, economic system, technological system, sociological system, and institutional system. And in intrinsic layer, we think that One Health recognizes the close links among human health, animal health, and environmental health. So we use intrinsic drivers index, IDI, to assess One Health practice as the interfaces of human health, animal health, and environmental health. And in core layer, we believe a One Health approach aims to improve the ability to more effectively address global challenges in core scientific issues. So we use the core drivers index, CDI, to evaluate One Health implementation in the management of core scientific fields, including emerging zoonotic infectious diseases, food security, AMR, climate change, and governance. Based on the cell-like framework, we selected the data. In total, we've conducted 4 rounds of expert consultations and group discussions to finalize the indicator scheme according to several principles, including relevance, authoritative sources, open access, completeness, timeliness, comparability, and country-level data. And in this process, we've conducted a number of interviews with experts from UN agencies, including 4 from WHO, 2 from World Bank, and 1 each from FAO and WHO and WMO, in order to incorporate international perspective in the understanding of One Health and also selecting qualified indicators. So based on the indicator scheme, we built up our Go High database. So the main data sources, as mentioned, are from official authoritative global database and supplemented by self-designed indicators, which means that the researchers assign scores to their self-designed indicators through independent search to make up for the limitations of the authoritative database. And we collected the data from the year 2016 to 2020, and we did cross-check and consistent tests for quality control. And here shows the specific data sources for the development of a Go High. And we can see that the majority of the data sources are from, for example, international organizations, FAO, OECD, WHO, etc., and global research projects, GBD, Global Health Security Index, etc. And as for the weight determination, fuzzy analytical hierarchy process, FAHP was adopted to assign the weights for most of the indicators. So firstly, we had a questionnaire to compare the importance of indicators and collected the results of experts' judgments. Then the results of each expert was separately generated into a matrix. And then we built a fuzzy comparison matrix based on that. And then the weight of every indicators was calculated based on this equation. And also we correct the polarization for some of indicators, such as the qualitative data of yes/no questions with a value given 0 or 1. So we use normal distribution to correct those polarized data, which would otherwise bias the calculation of the total score. And we interpolated the missing values using the mean of the counterparts from 3 countries with the most similar conditions. And also we set our exclusion rules, which is if the data of the indicator were missing for more than 160 countries, the indicators was excluded. If the country's data missing rate exceeded 50% in EDI, IDI, or any of the 5 dimensions in CDI, the country was excluded. For each sub-indicator, we then set the best and worst performance value for it and then normalize the sub-indicator data using the equation on the left. And then we sum the weighted scores of the lower level indicators using the left equation to obtain the score for the upper level indicators. And also the EDI, IDI, and the CDI scores are summed together to obtain the final score of Go High. Next, we're going to talk about the results of Go High. First, we established the Go High indicator and weight scheme. And we have 3 category indicators, 13 key indicators, 57 indicators, and 234 fourth level indicators. And the category and the key indicators were basically determined based on our cell-like framework. So the categories include external drivers index, EDI, and IDI and CDI with the weights of 15, 16, and 68.5%. And then under EDI, we have the key indicators of Earth system, institutional system, economic system, sociological system, and technological system with the weights of 20%. And on the EDI, we have the key indicators of human health, animal health, and environmental health with the weights of 33.3%. And under CDI, we have governance, zoonotic diseases, food security, AMR, and climate change with the weights of 22, 20, 21, 18, and 19%. Furthermore, under key indicators, we have indicators. Under EDI, Earth system, we have land, forest, water, air, natural disasters. On the institutional system, we have justice and governance. On the economic system, we have finance, work, housing. On the sociological system, we have demography, education, inequalities. On the technological system, transport, technology adoption, consumption, and production. On the IDI, human health, we have reproductive health. Excuse me? Infectious diseases and NCD and injuries, UHC and health risks. On the animal health, we have animal epidemic disease, animal welfare, animal nutritious status, and animal biodiversity. On the environmental health, we have air quality and climate change, land resources, sanitation and water resources, hazardous chemicals, and environmental biodiversity. And under governance, we have participation, rule of law, transparency, responsiveness, consensus-oriented, equity, effectiveness, and political support. On the zoonotic diseases, we have source of infection, route of transmission, targeted population, capacity building, and case studies outcomes. On the food security, we have food demand and supply, food safety, nutrition, natural and social circumstances, government support. AMR, we have AMR surveillance system, AMR laboratory network, AMR control, improve awareness and understanding, and AMR rate for important antibiotics. On the climate change, we have government response, climate change risks, and health outcomes. So we conducted the Go High pilot analysis and calculated the Go High score for the countries included. So this map shows the different ranges in performance in different colors. Overall, we found that the Go High scores of countries worldwide are far from optimal. So we set 100 points as the full score, and the highest score range of 60 to 65 mainly includes countries in North America, Europe, and Oceania, while countries in Africa obtained considerably lower scores in the range of 30 to 50. And here, regional score distribution of GoHi shows that the GoHi scores vary considerably by regions. North America has the highest median of over 60, while Sub-Saharan Africa has the lowest around 39. And also within our framework, the CDI has 5 dimensions, including zoonosis, food security, climate change, AMR, and governance. And then we can see that AMR and governance scores are the lowest ones, and also with the biggest variations among countries and territories. Here is the overall ranking of the 146 countries included in GoHi, with the first of Sweden. Its total score is 68.01, and the top 10 are Sweden, Australia, Netherlands, Germany, Finland, France, Austria, Denmark, and United States, and Switzerland. And China is ranking the 21st. Its total score is 56.34. And we can see that the most of the top 20 are from Europe and Central Asia. Here place the overall ranking. Okay, so we can see that the most of the bottom 20 are from Sub-Saharan Africa, and the lowest score is 31.77, Central African Republic. We also conducted a correlation analysis on GoHi score and average life expectancy of each country. So this figure shows that the relationship between the two was fitted well by a quadratic regression model. The R value is 0.76 and the P value is below 0.001, which means that higher life expectancy is associated with a higher GoHi score. And also for some countries such as China, Germany, the United States, Rwanda, Ghana, and Myanmar, their data points are above the fitted curve, which means that these countries have achieved a relatively higher GoHi score. So here we have several discussion points. The first point is GoHi scores of the selected countries and territories are far from ideal. So there is still a very large room for improving in the overall score of GoHi. Even with the first one, Sweden ranking the first, it is still more than 30 points away from the optimal state. And also the last one have more than 30 points lower than the first one. And the second point is GoHi scores show significant variations across different countries and territories. So among the top 25, 18 belong to Europe and Central Asia, and the others belong to other areas. And among the bottom 25, 19 belong to Sub-Saharan Africa. And the correlation analysis shows that the GoHi score is positively correlated with average life expectancy. The third one, in the dimensions of CDIs, One Health governance and AMR score lower. In One Health governance, more than 70% of the countries and territories score lower than 40. And in AMR, more than 50% of the countries and territories score lower than 40. Which means that the special attention should be paid to enhance and One Health governance and AMR control. And the fourth one, although the scores vary, we can find that the most concerning issues are relatively consistent across the countries and territories. For example, the national legislation on animal reserve in zoonotic diseases and the government support in food security, the AMR rate for selected antibiotics, and the air quality in climate change. The 4 indicators all range from 20 to 30 is very low, and which means that for those One Health hot issues of global common concern, joint efforts of different countries is especially needed. So we can say that the GoHi is innovative and useful in several aspects. GoHi is capable of reflecting the current status of One Health development, because the issues highlighted by our pilot analysis are consistent with the literature. And also GoHi might provide reference to the prioritization of resource input and the formulation of relevant strategies. The correlation analysis highlights the potential for the application of GoHi in predicting the effect of interventions and health outcomes. And also GoHi is more flexible and applicable to different situations in different countries, as unlike other databases, either is used the qualitative data or quantitative data exclusively. GoHi combines qualitative and quantitative data with a mix of methods approach in data collection and analysis. So GoHi is the world's first research tool that builds an evaluation framework from a holistic perspective of One Health and uses global data for empirical analysis. And the introduction of the cell-like framework of GoHi provides a clear definition and promotes a common understanding of the determinants and the function of what One Health is and what a strong One Health approach needs to have. So this will serve as a conceptual foundation for policymaking. And secondly, GoHi is able to serve as a tool for the assessment of the performance of One Health approach at varying levels, and it provides a means for identifying the gaps and promoting the adoption of effective measures to strengthen One Health capacity. And also it aims to support early identification of the gaps in technology development in relevant fields, particularly in infectious disease and AMR. Such as the technologies in early in response technologies, surveillance technologies, early warning technologies, etc. And we are aware that our study has several limitations in data collection and global representatives of experts. And also we're aware that our GoHi validation is a preliminary step, which we use as a case study to illustrate our potential applications. And our proposed GoHi now needs rigorous validation. And we will conduct further investigations on data mining and extensions of mathematical models. So in conclusion, GoHi, along with its technical protocols, will not remain static, but will evolve with more applications in research, practice, and policy. And the construction of GoHi has highlighted the significance of producing higher quality global One Health database and of sharing the data globally. As in our evaluation, the lack of data is a common problem, and the current databases are mostly based on international organization platforms. So I think a higher level data platform with integrated resources is especially needed to bridge data gaps. And also, there is a need for more conducive political environment to promote One Health applications and to stimulate multi-sectoral and transdisciplinary cooperation at varying scales. As for now, the lack of governance mechanisms is still the biggest bottleneck in One Health capacity building. So we're happy to share with you that we just had several recent publications of GoHi, one in Nature as a correspondence letter, and the one research article in infectious diseases of poverty. So thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to push the GoHi project together with all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zhang. Very excellent work on this speech. So because of the time limitations, let's move to the next session. So let's welcome Professor Zhou.
Thank you. Now it's the time for the Q&A, and anyone have the question? Probably we only can have 2 questions if you have. First, who is the first to raise your hand? So now here, I got the one question from Lydia Leonardo. In relation to the multi-sectoral cooperation for One Health applications, how involved is the business sector in this initiative? So maybe Dr. Zhang or maybe Yako, can you address this question? How involved the One Health application in the different sectors or in the business sectors?
I would refer to Xiaoxi to answer this question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I think for the business part, basically now we have an economic factor in the EDI, in the external drivers index, and I basically for now this is the way that we incorporate business sector in this index. And now I think in the next step of work we have more ways to do to sort of put GoHi in a more applicable scenarios. Maybe in on the level of application, we can involve more business factors in that. I think I'm not sure whether it answers the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The business sector is also very important because the transportation with the goods and particularly international traveling will be increasing, and of course it will affect our environment. And the second question was GoHi may include the economic analysis of the disease or non-communicable disease. Is that be possible, and how? And this will be addressed by, to the Dr. Zhang Xiaoxi.
Okay. Let me think. Yes, I think for the economic analysis, it's definitely one of the focus of our future research. But at this point, GoHi index itself is we treat it as an evaluation tool. So basically, the major aim of GoHi is now to evaluate the current status of the global countries and how it does in One Health scenarios. And for the economic analysis, I think that's what we needed to do to base on the global One Health index. Maybe use some of the indicators, and we put we add more solid methodologies into it. For example, use more mathematical or economic analysis. Use GoHi as a tool or a part of it, and put it into, add into more methodologies and put it into applicable scenarios. That's the next step of work, I think.
Okay, thank you. The next question may be addressed to the Dr. Jaco Sinsta, and how to engage or convince the different sectors, including animal, human health, and environmental health sector, to work on the same goal, while they have different targets, actually. So,
thank you for
Jaco.
this question. You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
The point is not convincing them. The point is meeting them and listening to them, and then asking under which conditions would you be prepared to work together. We don't need to convince anybody. We need to listen everybody, and not only the different sectors, also the communities, all members of society, because One Health is made of everybody.
Okay, thank you. All these three questions actually addressed by two professors, and they are mentioned how to integrate with the different sectors, and multi-sector cooperation is very important, or the key components for the One Health. That's why GoHi, they already integrate all the components together as a cell-like model. So framework, this framework is very useful in the future for our evaluation of One Health action or working plan. So it is really important for us to have this interaction today. And thanks for both Professor Jaco Sinsta and Dr. Xiaoxi Zhang for your contribution. Now I turn to the close of this session, and welcome to visit our website of this journal called Infectious Disease of Poverty. And today we have more than 500 participants actually listen to this idea forum. And this idea forum will be arranged every 2 months. So in the future, we will announce again and welcome you join us again. Thank you once again for your attention. So now it's time for the next symposium on surveillance response system leading to the tropical disease elimination. So let's take 5 minutes for the break. Then we move to the major opening ceremony for the symposium, next symposium. Thank you once again, Yako and Xiaoxi, for your excellent presentation and address all the questions. Thank you, and see you in 5 minutes.
Bye.